and over to you, Timo.
Thank you, Larissa, for setting the stage. And also from my side, hello and welcome to this information session about the application management offering from SAP. We call this SAP Cloud Application Services. And first of all, I want to introduce myself. My name is Timo Bauer. I'm working in the Cloud Application Services area for the region EMEA, MEE. And my team is a team of consultants who is delivering exactly the topics and the services you will see now in the next minutes. So I have structured the presentation into three main pillars. First of all, I would like to give you an overview on the SAP Cloud Application Services. And as an abbreviation, we very often use CAS. So be not surprised when I sometimes also say CAS, which is meaning Cloud Application Services. Afterwards, I would like to show you how you normally then engage with SAP Cloud Application Services. What are our main building blocks or pillars when you have a CAS engagement? And then, as we have different offerings within Cloud Application Services, I would like to show you a little bit the differences between our offering, for example, for private cloud, where you normally have also some responsibilities from customer side, which could be taken over from CAS, but also we have the Cloud ERP Public, of course, and we have for all the other cloud LOB solutions, various offerings. And of course, for the main technological architectures like BDC and BTP, we also have an offering which takes away responsibility and tasks from the customer side. Finally, as said by Larissa, I would like then to give you the opportunity to to ask questions and to answer them. Good. So about the overview. First of all, what is important to know is, as you most probably know, the architecture picture, the high-level picture you can see on the left side. SAP has a business technology platform where on top of the business data cloud is used as a data warehousing and data management solution. And this data and the BTP serve more or less as the basis for our cloud ERP solutions. In the cloud ERP solutions, you have the different lines of business, like you can see here, spend management, human capital management. And all this is more or less then supported and orchestrated by the use of agents. Everybody of you is, of course, aware how important AI has become in the meantime. And from SAP side, we have also a lot of areas where we support with the AI, like with the agents for certain LOBs, but also as an overarching kind of agent or the power user for AI, you can use or utilize Joule. All this stuff can be supported by Cloud Application Services. And on the right side, you can see our portfolio, which is only a part of the full portfolio, but the main offerings are listed here. As already said, we will have then a little bit a deeper look into the different flavors like Cloud ERP Private, or for example, also the Business Data Cloud. So why is Cloud Application Services an offering from SAP, and what are the hurdles probably customer have to take in the run phase? First of all, it's important that Cloud Application Services has the main task to support customers in the run phase, in the operations phase. And what is typically a challenge or a topic where customers would like to get SAP support or SAP assistance? First of all, if you have set your system live and you have specific business needs which come up during the operations phase, for example, you would like to extend some of your apps, or you would like to have some topics activated after the go live, or you would like to change some smaller customizing topics, you can always reach out to the CAS services and we will take over and do all this stuff for you. On the other side, very often the system landscape is not static, it's dynamic. So that means probably you will have to connect a new system, or you would like to, for example, connect to a public public sector area, whatever, from a kind of office, and you need integration help. That means we also take over the integration, connectivity of the systems or the connection of new systems. And also what is typical for the cloud systems is that you have a regular cloud release, which has to be on one side evaluated with regards to your individual needs. Probably you would like to utilize some of the new features and functions. You would like to activate them or to set them live. And for this, you also could utilize then the CAS consultants to activate these features and functions, and of course also to support you during the first days of usage. So if there's any issue occurring, some settings have to be readjusted, you can make use of CAS to support these topics. Another topic which is quite often, and this is some, I would say, competitive advantage for the SAP itself. If you would like to get specific detailed skills, probably you have some very specific skills on a certain module where you only need a one-time support, like variant configuration, or you have a certain specific scenario where you need deep skills. Then it's quite easy for SAP Cloud Application Services to provide these type of specific skills, because in the background we can utilize all our consulting experience when necessary and help to make these skills available. And you can avoid having a lot of SOVs, for example, to cover these specific skills. You just open a ticket and we will take care for it. As already said, of course, SAP CARS is working with you already if you wish to from the start of the customer value journey. That means we help you already in the early phases, but our main expertise is normally when the system has been set live and you start with the operations and run phase. Then, of course, we take over from consulting and help the customers to smoothly operate the systems and to proactively work on upcoming trends, issues, or risks. That means we try also to be your one single point of approach to SAP. That means if you have anything, and I will show you that a little bit later, you can always reach out to SAP CARS and we will take over dispatching to all the different organizational units. Cloud application management means that you can utilize this service or a package of these services for all of the different lines of business. As you can see here again in the pillars, what kind of possibilities you have to utilize CAS. So as you can see, all the typical SAP cloud solutions, either private or public cloud, are covered by SAP CAS. And also the main technologies like the business technology platform or the business data cloud is covered. We just have recently also shipped the possibility now to use intelligent spend, also known as Ariba. So that means you also can utilize now these CAS packages for the intelligent spend area. What does this mean? As you can see, we work in a so-called package-based mode. That means we have on top, of course, here the application management. This means really the continuous operation of your application. This means everything which is running in business client 0 or in the business client in general, even if it is customizing, setting up features, minor changes, but also monitoring, business process monitoring, and all this stuff can be done by the application management team. So you, as a customer, are completely released of these responsibilities. And then, of course, we support also in packages like the advanced monitoring. That means on top of the monitoring of, for example, the enterprise cloud services, we also offer then a monitoring of business KPIs, and we also provide here AI-supported aggregated reports or reportings, which you can utilize to see how your business KPI performance is. very important is also that we offer the security topics and compliance topics. That means on one side, you can ask us to keep the system updated on the security patch side, but also we detect or try to find, if necessary, the gaps where are probably enterprise threat detection could be a topic here. Another thing which is also very important during the operations phase is the data lifecycle management. For some data like financials data or human resources data, you have to keep the official lifecycle. That means you have to archive or delete data for these applications, and this can be taken or this can be done also by the CAS services. And then if you have ongoing releases and ongoing implementation of support packages, it could also be helpful if we take over the test management. That means on one side, we could support the automated testing, but also we can support you when you do some end user tests and you run into questions, error messages, whatever, we can help to resolve the issues. So as you can see, we have this package-based approach, and this means you have a kind of, I would say, lump sum per year, and this has to be paid, but afterwards you can utilize the CAS services based on this lump sum. That means you have a predictable price and you have a clearly defined scope, because all our packages have a scope which is described in detail, where you can see what you get for your money. Probably you have heard that, I think starting from March, that SAP decided to work now in a different way of layers in the engagement with the customers, which are called success plans. And as you can see in the picture here, for all customers, either the customers in the installed base using RISE with SAP to go to the cloud, or the Grow with SAP for the net new customers, there is an offering from SAP to have 3 levels of success plans. One is the foundational success plan, which is already included in every license deal. On the other side, you can then buy on top advanced for certain deliverables from SAP, and also the max plan, which is then the outmost delivery which you can get from SAP. Beside these engagement levels, you can also utilize our professional services for the implementation of the solution. And if you have bigger development requests, you can also utilize the development services. These 2 offerings are available for all 3 levels of success plans. And the same is for application management. That means we offer our packages for all customers independently if you have bought the foundational, the advanced, or the max success plan. Here again, there is a picture which explains a little bit what is the deliverable of the application management and how it is related to these 3 levels of success plans. As you can see, our offering is a comprehensive and complementary offering to the success plans. Our main focus is, as you have seen also some slides before, on focusing on the seamless operation of your system and the seamless continuous improvement of your system. So as already mentioned, we have topics which are releasing you from these topics around system operations, like test management, to assure security, to monitor the business processes, to activate and implement further AI features and functions, to assure the optimal performance of your system, and also to manage the data during the life cycle. How is the engagement model with SAP? We have mainly 4 pillars, which are typical for cloud application services. First of all, on the left side, probably you know that if you have another engagement model with SAP, for example, you know the technical quality manager in the premium engagement services. We have also a so-called application service manager, which is comparable to a technical quality manager. And the main goal of this person is to manage the relationship with our CaaS customers. That means this person is responsible to successfully execute the services you have bought. He is or she is the connector to the subject matter experts of the CaaS services. We also take care then via this person to have a seamless execution. You can address topics on a regular basis. Normally, these application service managers have with you regular governance calls, status calls, and in case of some kind of escalation, you can reach out to this ASM to take over ownership. On the other side, we have the service desk, which is our single point of entry. That means we utilize the SAP4Me to open tickets. That means if a customer opens a ticket in SAP4Me, our service desk takes care for this ticket. This is a 24/7 offering from CaaS. And that means all tickets coming in will be evaluated by this service desk, and we take over the dispatching of the different types of requests you send to SAP. So that means also you don't have to take care if it is now a CaaS-specific topic, a ECS-specific topic, or a product support topic. Everything is managed and dispatched via the service desk. And we, of course, adhere to the IT service management procedures, which are generally available. And then, of course, when we take over such a ticket where you request some change or some improvement, we have the subject matter experts sitting in our service delivery units. Mainly, these are people with consulting skills who can help them take over the ticket processing, and the people are then reaching out to the initiator of the process of the ticket. We discuss what exactly is required. We agree on a time frame when it will be realized. And finally, the full delivery and implementation of the changes will be taken over by these consultants. And also, if this is asked for, you can also reach out to us asking for advice. For example, you would say, there is a new release coming out for success factors, and you would like to know or discuss certain features and functions out of this new release. Then you can also open a ticket, and the colleagues will discuss with you, is this success factors feature relevant for you? Does it make sense? And also take over the activation when required. Finally, we have the SLAs, as in all processes of SAP, I think. We have the service desk available 24/7. And then you can decide, this is based on the customer contract, which is at the end signed, if you need the full 24/7 support by our consultants, or if it is sufficient for you to have the normal business day support 5 days a week, 10 hours a day. This is at the end also a topic you can decide on your own, and this will be defined with you in a scoping we have at the beginning of the discussions about the contract. Mainly we do English support, but of course for a lot of topics, as many of these consultants are sitting also in Germany, we can provide also German support, and we have also for certain other areas, especially globally, languages we can support. For example, for the Latin America region, we have also a lot of Portuguese-speaking colleagues who can support here, or we have also people with different Asian languages we can support. And last but not least, here you can see the initial reaction time when the process or the ticket is taken into process and when you will get a first reaction. But this is also a topic you can discuss with us whenever necessary. How does this collaboration model look like? I think the most important part is what you can see on top, which is the area where the customer is involved, the light blue steps. First of all, there is probably an end user, and this end user has an issue or wants to get support from SAP Cloud Application Services. Then there is initial call logged and automatically dispatched. And what we normally expect from our customers is to have one or some customer key users. And these customer key users take a first qualification of the issue. Partially, customers have also partners supporting here in the customer key user role. It's mainly to classify, is this really something which can be addressed to SAP, or is it something which is based on internal processes? And then, of course, the final ticket is created in SAP for me. And from there, our service desk takes over and, as said, takes over also the dispatching to the right organizational unit of SAP, which could be our Cloud Application Services team, or we have also dispatching to the Global Cloud Operations or ECS teams, which means if it is more infrastructure related issue, for example. And of course, if there is any error within the system, then product support is involved. Our teams are spread over the full globe, so that means we have mainly colleagues sitting in the typical SAP locations, I would say. But beside that, as you can see, where these typical delivery locations are set, we have Northern America, where a lot of people are sitting in the East and West Coast. We have the full coverage of the EMEA and also the Asian region from China to India. This is more or less what I wanted to show you about the generic topics about cloud application services. And now I would like to show you a little bit the differences of our offerings depending on the type of solutions which are supported. So you can, of course, decide just to get, for example, only cars for cloud application, cars for ERP private, or you can get it only for your SuccessFactors solution or whatever. So you don't have to buy it for the full portfolio. You can just select the portfolio part which is relevant for you. When you work with SAP, you always have to agree on the responsibilities and roles which are involved. And if you have here this case of the Cloud ERP private solution, normally the global cloud operations take care for the full infrastructure stack. That means we take care for all the network, virtualization, operating systems, the database, and partially also topics in the basis of the SAP business client or client zero. Very often, customers are not at least aware of the full responsibilities on their side. That means it's not only to cover the business processes and the classical functional application management. There are some remaining tasks also in the SAP basis client, client zero, in the business client. And here is our main offering from a more technical point of view. We have here offering which is called SAP Cars for Cloud ERP Private. It means we close the gap between the application operations part from a functional perspective with the technical topics. That means all technical issues or topics which have to be maintained or operated can be covered by SAP Cars for Cloud ERP Private. We also take care then with our teams to be closely aligned with the SAP Global Cloud Operations. If you have a CDM, a client delivery manager, and a TSM, a technical service manager from the ECS part, that will be our main counterparts to align on what has to be done and how SAP has to act for you to make sure that the operations is smooth. What does this mean from a more, I would say, a specific way of explaining? But mean SAP Cars for Cloud ERP Private is taking over the system monitoring also from a business process perspective. We take care for the application performance. We take care for security updates and also, of course, for the data management. Here are some more examples. What could be in the Cars for Cloud ERP Private done? So there is, for example, typically the management of connections for the BTP. There could be housekeeping activities. There could be also cleanup activities of the logs. Of course, the application security patching is a part. We monitor then also the exceptions We take care to be aware of certificates which expire, for example, and we also monitor the performance and jobs which are scheduled with regards to job if you have job cancellations, for example, and we use therefore Cloud ALM to manage the batch jobs and the interfaces and the errors coming up here. But we do not only do reactive monitoring and support, we also utilize the information which is available from the Early Watch Alert application to check what could be a trend where we can run into an issue. So we do risk analysis. We also do proactively the database performance checks and also monitor the data volume and security risks. On top of this, then also the functional application management can completely be handed over to SAP. That means the customer end users and the key users only take care for the business processes, and everything on below that, that means customizing, master data maintenance, all this stuff which is not really relating to the, I would say, the core business process, can be handed over to the application management. We have teams then of consultants who are able to cover the full ERP scope as well as success factors, CX, whatever application is used by customers. As you have seen now in this, I would say, private cloud specific, where the customer has some responsibility also in the area of the basis client, in the situation where you have a real full public cloud solution like the typical ERP public cloud solution or success factors. There normally the customer has no touch point to the full infrastructure area. That means the sub-global cloud operations is taking care for the full technical side, but still there is the need probably to get support in the functional application management. And here again, we have this package which is called SAP CAS FAM, Functional Application Management, where you can utilize the experts from our side to keep your system maintained from a functional perspective. What does this mean? Of course, we can utilize and help you to set up the AI operations if you want to, for example, the sub-Joule agents or the AI functionality. Of course, we help in any case of questions with regards to the functional application management and the business process steps. We also make suggestions where you can improve your running system. And also when you have ongoing and recurring tests, we help you to automate these tasks and also analyze issues in case the tests run into error messages. And of course, you can also define together with us business processes and KPIs where you would like to have active monitoring. And then you can also combine that with a proactive incident management so that we automatically get recurring tickets coming to us where we take care and then reach out to you to discuss how to proceed here. We have 4 main activity areas where the SAP CAS is becoming active. First of all, classically, if there is an unplanned interruption of a service, that means something gets stuck, then we help you first to restore the business process, to get it up and running again. Afterwards, of course, you want to know what was the root cause for this situation, which was caused. Then we can help you to identify the root cause and also work on a long-term resolution if necessary. It could be something where probably a workaround was first implemented, but afterwards you have to implement a node, for example, or to use other SAP tools or housekeeping possibilities, for example. And then, of course, we also help with these infrastructure topics like you would like to have a transport done from one system to another. We can then, if you have changed something in your customizing, you would like to get the changes transported and tested. We support you in this process also. And of course, for standard change requests, we are also helping. There are some predefined services we can help you with. This is a catalog you will get which means you can then start with such a service catalog item requesting us to do implementation of a legal change package, for example. So you can see there are very different ways of interacting with us, from a very short notice, urgent topic to a planned long-term support. Beside this, I would say mainly standardized topics. We also have a new area where we now become more active, which is called proactive application management. Here we also try to utilize Cloud ALM, sorry, as a platform to have a monitoring setup, which helps you also to monitor batch jobs, the integration, and also upcoming exceptions. And we also utilize AI to have intelligent alerting. And we also use the AI to provide you periodic summary reports on what we have done, what has been detected, what probably is a trend where we have to discuss. And all this information is also discussed together with the subject matter experts from SAP, these consultants, or as already introduced, the application service manager will have a regular alignment call with you where you can align with us on what has come up, what are the next steps, and what can SAP CAS provide you to implement changes or to remove issues. We also try to manage the adherence to the cloud quality. That means we take care for clean core and make also suggestions how to remove old, outdated code, for example, or we help you also to keep the system clean here. Another area where we support is the SAP Cloud Application Services for BDC, for Business Data Cloud. Here, just as a reminder, how Business Data Cloud is built from the infrastructure or the architecture side. We have on top Business AI, then we have different applications in an intelligent applications layer. We have the Business Data Fabric, and then below that, of course, we have the data products and the data models. And they take data from the applications and can be used then afterwards for aggregated real-time reporting. And here again, there is some operations work to be done, and we can take over the operations from a technical perspective. That means we take care for the maintenance of the SAP Analytics Cloud or DataSphere or Databricks, but also connections to SAP BW for HANA, for example, is part of this work, as well as the functional operations, so we can take care for the application management. As a third pillar, we also utilize AI then for the operations. That means we utilize and set up Joule, and also we utilize Databricks to bring AI onto the system. Here you can see the different layers where SAP Cloud Application Services is filled in between the BDC technical infrastructure side, which is hosted by Global Cloud Operations in the green area. This is what is done from our colleagues from the ECS Global Cloud Operations team. And then, of course, on top in the gray area, this is the customer's typical area of action to create stories, to do visualization and so on. But in between, you have to do some operation tasks. And here, as already shown in the last slide, this is the area where then Cloud Application Services closes the gap between the end users on the analytics side and the infrastructure team. Also important is the involvement of SAP Cloud Application Services for the BTP. Here is especially mentioned the integration suite, but also other areas of the BTP could be taken over from the CAS colleagues. Mainly, we take here care for the technical and function operations of the integration suite. That means, for example, you can hand over to us the regression testing of non-standard integration content, and we also do all this type of API management, monitoring the BTP instance, and also helping all the stuff which is coming up via incidents and problems. Again, here this picture shows how we distribute the responsibilities and how we close the gap between our global cloud operations team, which means they take care again for the infrastructure, for the runtimes and the operating systems and so on. And of course, customers will then manage the integration creation. That means the workflows or the processes on top of the BTP. But in between, you have again topics like the change management, again monitoring, also some basic configuration, and also again testing is a topic which can be taken over by the cloud application services here. That was mainly what I wanted to show you about the offering from SAP Cloud Application Services. As a kind of summary here, some of the topics where you can benefit from cloud application services. We are at least a possibility to get a bridge between the technical and business operations, and also to reduce the business risk, because we do proactive work on the system and we alert you as early as possible if there's any trend which could run into an issue. Of course, you have also the advantage that when you open a ticket, independently on what the topic will be about, we will take care for the right dispatching, so we can help to speed up the incidents, as we have all the knowledge to decide which type of or which organization unit at SAP takes care for the right resolution. And of course, we also try to help you to prevent already the issues and remediate the issues by monitoring and proactive problem management. We also follow the One SAP approach, which means we partner closely with the ECS or Cloud Operations team and the product support, so that issues which are not clear at the beginning can be handed over and can be also jointly analyzed. That means, for example, if we have a topic which is in the layer in between cloud operations and CAS, we take care for addressing it, discussing it, and you will only get notified about the progress and the resolution of that. And at the end, I think you can be sure that having us as the partner, that we can assure that you have a seamless execution of the processes and the requests you address to us. That was what I wanted to show to you. And first of all, I want to thank you for your attention on one side. And as you can see, there's also my mail address. So if you are interested to get deeper insights, or you would like to discuss or scope possible CAS services which would be relevant for you, you can feel free to reach out to me via the email address, and I'm happy to answer your questions then or now. Of course, I'm also happy to answer the questions which have been open so far. So Larissa, should I stop sharing to see the questions, or how will we proceed here?
Yes, let's do it like this. First of all, thank you very much, Timo, with all these insights into the services, also to this information who is doing what, about the responsibilities and roles. And we have a couple of questions. I suggest we can start in the chat. If you can click on the chat and see two questions that were raised here, we can start from there and then we move out to Q&A tool.
Okay, the first question is the engagement use case based or is it a term-based contract? Do we have to sign the contract at the time of the RISE contract? So normally when you sign a RISE contract, you will already be made aware that there is a possibility to use CAS at the start of your going live. So what is typically our approach is you have first an implementation partner doing the software implementation. And when this comes to an end and shortly before go live, the cloud application services team would then be involved. We have normally a 2-year based subscription. That means you sign most cases for 2 years, and then you have the chance to decide if you would like to extend. It's like in the cloud-based subscription for your cloud solutions. And it's a term-based contract, but on the other side you also decide for packages. So for example, you can say, I just want to get the application security update package, which means it's just that you are always up to date with the security updates. In this case, you would close a package contract for 2 years for the application security updates. So there is, I would say, a two-dimensional approach. One is you have a certain amount time period where you close the contract, but also you can decide which of our offerings should be delivered during this time frame. And it's not that you have to buy always full-blown packages or portfolios.
All right, thanks for that. There is one more question in Q&A tool.
This is a good question, to be honest. I can provide that. Probably we can send this around, but I have not at hand. But of course, the services product numbers are also known to our sales representatives, so they could provide you. If you have a account owner, you can reach out to this person. But if you want to, you can also send me a mail, and I can provide it to you. Also connect you to our colleagues from CAS Services Sales, and they can provide you this information.
All right. For this question, then please feel free to reach out to Timo, and then he will connect you.
I could go over to the chat. I've seen there is also some questions in. The first is, what is the role of the partners when it comes to managed services? I mean, we are interested to collaborate with our partners, and often also partners take care for the application management. That is up to our customers to decide at the end which kind of solution they prefer. I would say our advantage is probably that we have a more direct access to our ECS colleagues or global cloud operations colleagues. That means the alignment between us and our infrastructure department is closer because we are in the same organizational unit. And probably if you need really the very specific skills for certain areas where the expertise is not spread wide over the market, it's easier for us to find the right consultants than probably for a partner. But I think, of course, if there is really commodity business from your side and you have a straightforward business which is not taking care for certain specifics, partners do this comparable job to our job in some cases for application management. What about EIC? I'm not completely sure what EIC in this case is. Integration suite, yeah. Yeah, of course, Edge integration cell. To be honest, I'm more the functional guy. That means my colleagues are helping the customers with logistics, finance, and HCM. So I'm not the expert. But if you want to get here an answer, of course, you can send me the mail to the given mail address, and I will forward it to one of our technical guys to provide you an answer.
All right, thanks for that. There is some explanation. It's an integration runtime outside SAP. I will reach. Yeah, okay. I think this would be the best option because it sounds a bit more specific, and Timo is open to receive this. Yeah, and shared his email address. So let's see. There is one more question: how to download the PDF? I can see only videos on link. Usually the links to the PDFs are included in the description of the video for the uploads on the YouTube playlist. If you are referring to a particular webcast that you cannot download the PDF, please let me know. But for we do not restrict download in the PDF, but it's usually included in the description to the video. So let me know if it's some specific problem to a specific video. I will follow up on this, but usually it's not a problem. All right. So if there are more questions from the audience, now is the moment to bring them up, because we are almost at the end of the session. And again, thank you very much, Timo, for providing your details of the services and how to interact, how to engage, also for sharing your contact information for those who would like to follow up with you directly. And also thank you very much to all the participants for being with us, for being active, bringing up questions. We will continue our Move to Cloud ERP webcasts, and next week we will offer a session on around Concur. And so stay tuned. You will receive, as usually, a reminder from me. Usually I send it on Friday. So you have it in your calendar for next week. And I hope you will join us next week as well. And with this, I suggest we finish this session, we close it, and looking forward to welcome you in one of our upcoming webcasts. Thank you very much, and bye-bye.
Thank you and goodbye.